This podcast is sponsored by Highclere Castle Gin, born from a castle, renowned for its parties and acclaimed for its taste. Highclere Castle Gin is the winner of over 200 international spirit awards with a triumphant 100-point score. Pick up a bottle for yourself at highclerecastlegin.com.
Yeah. So now we're going to dive into a new one that hit this week, which was Cross. It was very highly anticipated. It hit on Prime Video. It was filmed 2 years ago, pre-strike. Yeah,
Wow.
and they held off on premiering it until now, which is crazy. But
Wonder
finally
why.
dropped. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the decision behind it. It also got renewed for a second season when it hadn't even aired. So
Oh,
It
wow.
must have had good pre-reviews.
I don't know, but you kind of knew it had to be good. So
Hmm.
the entire season dropped on Prime Video on the 14th. It's based on James Patterson's Alex Cross
Hmm.
novels, and Aldis Hodge plays Alex Cross and does a freaking phenomenal job, let me tell you. I was not really sure how I was going to feel about it just because I didn't know much about it and I'd never read the books. But man, like right from the very first episode, I was hooked. Everything about it, the tone, the pacing, the casting, all of it was great. Aldis Hodge is amazing as Alex Cross. He just lost his wife in a very tragic way. She was shot pretty much right in front of him. And all that emotion and taking care of his kids now and trying to keep on with his career. It's just phenomenal. And I like how they didn't shy away from the darker parts of Alex's world. Like, it balances his personal drama with the police work. Um, and he's dealing with not just the bad guys because they're trying to find a serial killer, but he's dealing with his personal struggles too, right? They still haven't found who killed his wife.
Yeah.
So the villain is interesting. But so I was a New Amsterdam fan. Ryan Eggold, Mr. Dr. Max Goodwin,
Oh, is that who's on this?
yeah,
Yeah.
get this. He's the serial killer.
Okay.
Oh, I can, but honestly, I can see him doing it. Like
You can?
I can't. He's
Oh,
got a good, like, it's hard to see people in that role because they've been this happy-go-lucky character for so long. But I don't know, like, I don't know if any of you watched Trap with Josh Hartnett, but he played the always the lucky go character. And when I saw him as the villain, I didn't know if I could finish the movie because I can't see him that way, but he played it so well.
Wow.
Like he looked like a psycho. Like it
That's
was
crazy.
crazy.
and
I'm shocked.
well,
Yeah.
the interesting part was the director did an interview and said that, you know, they wanted Ryan for this role because they thought that he could nail it. And Ryan Eggold didn't want to do it because he wanted a break after New Amsterdam. But they talked him into it and he did it. And man, well, first of all, he doesn't look a thing like himself. He's
Oh, I'm
clean
sure.
shaven, his hair is dyed blonde. It's like really hard you completely forget that he was Dr. Max Goodwin.
Well, you have to,
Yeah.
right? So,
But God, he's good. He steals the show. Um, I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked at how good he was in that role, but way to go him. But
wow.
everything about it, like the way that they use the lighting and the shadows and just everything about this series is awesome. The music is awesome. And like I said, it's already been renewed for a second season. I see it going further than that. I think it's going to attract way more than the fans of the book. Like I said, I didn't read the books and I love it. So I really can't wait to see how far it goes. And
I wonder, like, for those that read the entire series, like how they feel it's being portrayed, like how
yeah,
those books are so emotionally driven too. If you're a fan, you're a fan.
yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how they turned it into life and how you can see the similarities and the differences.
Well, one thing that they did say was they left out a key chapter, but apparently it's not a bad thing. But yeah, if you out there have read the books and watched the show, let us know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Do a good job. Are there things that were missing that you wish they had included? But I don't know. For me, I hadn't read the books, but I loved it. And uh, yeah, I'll probably rewatch it too before the second season comes out.
It'll be interesting to see because I think it's Harlan Coben, his
Yeah,
Netflix movies or short, limited series. That's what they're
yeah.
called. those have been coming out and I had no clue who he was, right? But that's like those kinds of shows are something my husband and I love to watch
Me
together.
too.
So maybe this could be one, but because I watched it and I loved it so much, I ended up reading the books. So it'll be interesting
Ah,
to see
Mm.
like if people will go to the books kind of just to see the similarities and the
Yeah.
differences, right?
yeah.
Because I always say I'm an avid reader. I always say that 99% of the time the book is better than the
Oh
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that is, but a book, it has 700 pages, like it has so much time to describe these characters in detail and describe the things in
Hmm.
details. Whereas like movies and limited series, you're only getting a short period of
that's
time.
right.
But when a TV show or a movie does it right, even if they leave out a couple things, it is so good, right? And it
Yeah,
makes you want to go. So I'm interested to watch this and
you
see if
should.
it's going to make me want to read the books.
It
Yeah.
And
might. And it's just like it reminds like when you think about book adaptations like Virgin River,
yeah,
Sullivan's Crossing, which we're going to talk about in a bit. Those are book adaptations that nailed it. Those stray kind of far from the books, but still they've done such a great job
Yeah, but you
with it
fall in
that
love with the characters in the
yeah,
mhm.
book and in your mind because you have a view of them. And if they
One
pick the
million percent.
exact good character or good actor to play that character that is similar to what you've envisioned, then they've nailed it already.
well, I'll
Well,
tell
it
you.
ends with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Those
yeah.
are not at all. Like that is one of my favorite books of all time. I read that
Oh,
during
I know.
COVID. I loved it. Those are not the people I would have picked to play.
That's what
And
everyone's saying.
but I was like, you know what? Maybe I won't watch it. And I did take forever to watch it. I ended up watching it maybe a month ago. Oh my God. It was so good.
Yeah.
I,
Hmm.
I was a little bit disappointed in myself for being so negative.
Yeah.
Just seeing the stuff that was coming out about it and like their outfits and the ages because it was so different than the book.
And the
But
controversy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and going back and watching it, it was a like trigger warning for the people who, don't know what it's about, but it was exactly what people needed to see
Yeah.
when it comes to domestic violence
Yeah.
and see
Yeah.
what relationships really are like when you're stuck in that. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, you read and you picture these characters in your mind. And like I said, I could be very harsh and be like, nope, I'm not watching that. I'm not reading that because those are not the characters I pictured. But sometimes it's like, maybe the people behind the scenes know a little more than
Know what
I.
they're doing.
Well,
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So if they do it
and
right, they do it right.
they get
Yeah.
the author to help too, which I think is
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
and that's the case with like Virgin River Sullivan's, all those
Yeah.
the author had us to say, and same with Cross. But I'll tell you, if I read the books, I'm gonna picture Aldis Hodge the entire time because he is so good, and
Wow.
everyone says that it was like they took him off the page and put him.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's
Do we
good
know him from
casting.
anything else? Me
Me,
terrible with names, guys.
um, I personally had never seen him before. Like I heard he was gonna be on this. He was in Leverage Redemption, just like he was on
Not something
Reacher.
I would watch.
Yeah, nothing that I
Oh, yes. I watched Reacher, loved
yeah,
Reacher. He
yeah,
was very good in Reacher.
yeah.
I
So
forgot he was on Reacher.
he's so good. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah.
says he was in The Walking Dead.
oh, well, I
Oh,
wouldn't know that either.
probably. Yeah.
But
Interesting.
definitely worth a
I'll
watch,
probably
worth a
we'll
bid. I
have to watch that.
think it's 12 episodes, 10 to 12 episodes. I can't remember, but it was so
Nice.
good.
So
So,
decent season, and they're like the regular time, not half
yeah.
an hour or anything.
No, hour long. Yeah.
Perfect.
Good.
So,
I might
all
have to
right.
pick one up. That sounds
You
really good,
will.
Nina. And
You
that's
will.
Prime Video, right?
Prime Video. Yeah. Worth it. So now we're going to shift into another dark type of show that just aired its finale, which got a very rare score of A plus on TV Line, which never happens. So this was The Penguin. So I think people were pretty satisfied. I don't know, Susanna, what'd you think?
Well, I just read an article that they got 9.7 on IMDb. It's one of the highest rated TV
Yeah,
episodes ever.
yeah,
And
Wow.
that to me was the perfect score.
yeah.
I don't know if you remember me talking about how, you saw this guy and how he grew up and you didn't have a lot of backstory. You knew that his mom had dementia and him and her were close. He had two brothers that passed away, and all he said was the city took them. So you don't know what that meant. Let me tell you, he is no longer the anti-hero. He
Uh-oh.
is true villain you see in
Uh-oh.
Batman comics. You
Okay.
saw him become psycho as he grew up, hate and started hating his brothers because he felt like his mom cared about them more. But it wasn't that. She was a single mom. And you felt sorry for him because he always wanted to do things with her, but she was always busy. But then the brothers came in and it was like, oh, let's play this. And he took them, they went out and they did their usual thing. Like the mom was involved with gangsters, so they had to I guess she was doing accounting for them. And then they go and play in, I don't know if I remember you remember, but he set up his drug den in the Underground Railroad abandonment.
Yeah.
That ties back to where he played with his brothers when they were kids.
Oh.
And in that, they played hide and go seek, and they always treated him badly because he had a brace on his leg and everything. So they hid in a place where you would have to take the ladder down to go find them. And he did it halfway and almost fell. And he told them, he said, "Screw you," and then went back up. And when he left, he shut the water door and closed it. He
Ooh.
knew it was raining, and that was the water runoff system. Went home and told his mom that they went to the movies. And
Because he killed them?
the whole time he sat there with his mom, he kept looking outside and kept seeing it rain and
Oh,
rain and rain and never said a word.
No.
He
that is
never,
dark.
ever, ever knew his mom knew. She, and then you see this storyline about why she gives him so much slack. She found out that it was him, and
Oh
she
my
actually was
gosh.
going to get a gangster to kill him because she thought he was psycho.
Oh.
And so the gangster said, one of two things can happen. This kid is going to be the biggest mobster in Gotham City and do crazy things with his life and make a ton of money. Or he's going to continue on this path and you're going to have to get rid of him. So she wanted to get rid of him. In the end, she decided not to because as a kid, he promised that he was going to be the biggest gangster in Gotham City. So she tried to give him that choice, but all in all, she was resenting him. You see Sophia kidnap the mom, took her to the old theater restaurant that she took him to when she was contemplating killing him.
Oh, geez.
They both got there because then she kidnapped Oz, the penguin, and he finally found out that his mom knew what he did. And he would never, ever, even though it would save his mom's life because they were going to cut her finger off,
Ah,
he would never, ever say to her, I did it, I did it, I did it. Always made excuses. And finally, the mom told him that she hated him, and then Sophia backed off on the trauma of cutting her finger
oh,
off. And that is where you see the mom saying, "You would let her do that to me, then say the truth about what you did to your brothers." And at that moment, the mom had a hallucination of the brothers and actually had a massive stroke,
oh.
which of course Sophia didn't account for. So then it was a big scrummage and everyone got out. He ended up getting all the leaders of the gangs of New York to be on his side. It's so weird. He was fighting with Sal Maroni, the biggest mobster in Gotham City, and you thought he's gonna die. Like this guy is way too much, a lot bigger than Oz. He had a heart attack
Oh
in
my
the middle
God.
of the fight, so he ends up dying. So he's like, "Oh wow, this is perfect. Like this is my luck." Then he kicks him out and makes it look like he killed him.
Of course.
Then a big explosion happens. Um, Jerry rigs a Jeep to go down into the Underground Railroad area, and they blew up half of the Crown, I think it was Crown Royal Plate area where all the low income people live. So she
Hmm.
like destroyed so many people died. She thought she killed them, but she didn't. And in the end, he went to like his mom ended up going to the hospital. He took his mom to the hospital and he exacted his revenge on Sophia by doing exactly what happened to her years before. He was her driver. She got in the back seat of his car because he had a gun to her head. and he drove her, talking about his like the reminiscing of the past, dropped her off and tipped off the cops that she was the one that blew up and killed all those people. And they arrested her, and she ended up back in Arkham again. And she had just spent 2 decades there.
Lord.
So now she's back in Arkham.
At least
He
they didn't kill off her character's potential
Yes.
for.
No, and
No.
the potential for the next, because there isn't going to be a second season of this. What
Well,
happened?
they haven't exactly said that. They said
No,
there's.
but I just read that this is arcing into the Batman 2. So
Okay.
whatever ended here is what's arcing into the Batman 2.
Okay.
But not only do you now think he's a villain, you're like, oh, but he killed all the bad people. His only friend, his only teenage friend, Victor,
Oh yeah.
went with him to see his mom. His mom ends up in a vegetative state.
Oh,
And he doesn't want to do anything about his mom because he's like, I made it, mom. I'm now the biggest mobster in Gotham City.
okay.
And one thing he says to Victor is, and Victor's like, well, you're like family. Thank you for taking me in. My parents died, whatever. But then Oz says, one thing about family is they don't let you do what you need to do to progress. And he kills him.
No.
His
Yes,
only friend?
his
I,
only
I
friend.
I've been posting the sneak peeks and stuff on the website,
Yeah.
and I just knowing who that kid was makes me sad.
It is. I was like, my husband and I were just dumbfounded that he would not make him his henchman for a life.
But what
But
the
because
hell?
he had a bond with this kid now, he knew that if, just like his mom, if he were to get kidnapped, he would have to go and save him, and put himself at risk. And he is such a narcissist that he can't see himself doing that, and he wants to get as high as he wants. So he gets rid of the only people that could possibly put him in that position.
Wow.
So in the end, you see him being the top gangster, living in the penthouse he told his mom that he was going to get for her because she wanted to live in one of the big high-rise um, penthouses in Gotham. And you see her there in her hospital bed,
Hmm.
looking out the window of the penthouse and tears coming down her eyes
Oh,
because
geez.
she made it to where she wanted to be, but not in this position. And the one thing I never got was if you're getting rid of all the people that could put you in predicaments, he kept his girlfriend. In the end, his girlfriend shows up, and because now she had dumped him, and now that he's this big Gotham mobster, she ends up staying in the picture, which I'm like, then why did he kill Victor? Like I think it was for the viewers to really realize he's not an anti-hero.
He's a
He's the actual villain
evil.
that you see in the Batman comics.
Yeah.
And the best thing after, and you see the transition to the Batman movie, is as it pans out, you see the penthouse and him dancing, and it goes further and further until you see the night sky, and then the Batman signal goes on. So that's
Okay.
it indicated.
Okay.
That's such a classic. I love
Yeah,
that.
so
Uh,
that indicated now Batman was never gone in that series. He was always in the background lurking, but in the end, that's what's going to happen is you'll see now he's what I've heard is they're trying to decide if there's going to be more than one villain in the Batman, the second movie, and Ian and I definitely think it's going to be the Penguin, obviously, because this is what they've
well, they
transitioned to.
wouldn't have done this and led into
Right.
this if it
Unless.
Right.
was.
And the other one we see might be getting out and being a victim is Sophia because her dad had a child out of wedlock. If you watched the Batman movie, you found out that that was Catwoman.
Oh, okay.
Selena. She left at the end of the Batman movie, and she just wrote a letter to Sophia because she never knew her because she was in Arkham the entire time. And she sent her a letter, and you don't know what's in that letter, but all you see is Sophia start smiling. So
Wow.
you know that could be where the Catwoman transitions, you know,
Yeah.
doing some bad things. But I will
Yes.
tell you, that score was legit. I mean, all the rave reviews they've been getting, Colin Farrell is amazing. The actress that plays Sophia said that she never ever was on screen with Colin. it was always the Penguin. She never saw him without his gear on.
And
She
it
said
took
the
3 hours every time they filmed to put that on
I
him.
saw a
I
video of them
watched,
putting it on.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. And the thing is, she said, like, when I do press junkets with Colin right now, she says the only thing I can tell, like, is the eyes. That's
Yeah,
how
there's
I know
nothing
it was the
else
That's
there.
really
Penguin.
all she sees.
Yeah.
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 Everything's different. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So she said when I hear him talk and I see his eyes, I know, like, that's who he
Oh,
was.
okay.
But
Yeah.
she never saw him in person the entire time they filmed. It was
Like,
always in the
minutes.
Penguin. Like, it's
Yeah.
so crazy. But I will tell you, it was really good. And anyone that hasn't watched it needs to watch it. Like I said, you don't have to watch the Batman film. Obviously, it helps. But it's a standalone short. And I do really feel like if there wasn't a second movie coming out, then this would progress into more of what the Penguin's doing.
Awesome. Okay, there's another it's playing right now on Max, streaming on
Hmm.
Max.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something to watch, this is to add this to your list. So we're giving you lots today. We're giving you lots of must watches. But
Hmm.
another one topped the poll yet again. FBI International. I had to laugh this week because you know it's got to be good because my mom, who loves Chicago PD, but doesn't really care much about the cast. It's just she just loves the Chicago. Says to me, "Did you know Jesse's on FBI?"
Yeah.
I love him. He's so good on there, and it's so much better on FBI. So I'm like, okay, I guess
I
this
need to
is
text
it.
your mom because
Yeah.
it's so funny. I knew she like loved One Chicago, but I think she watches all of them, right? She
She
watches
Yeah, she
does.
every.
does.
She does every single
Are
one.
the only one I don't watch, but I knew she loved it. But I didn't think she
Yes.
was going astray from her shows
Oh
to watch
man,
something new.
she loves it. She thinks he's phenomenal. Yeah.
Oh,
So
Yeah, she watched FBI, like the original
yeah,
FBI.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
but not
so that
international.
no, she
Right.
started watching it and then she's like, "Hey, wait a minute."
That's
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah.
What'd you
And I
think
think
this week?
we've mentioned it before. This is the fourth season, and this is the first season he's on. So, I'm really interested if they have some sort of like not study, but something to show how many new people they've got since he's joined.
It'd be interesting because I
Yeah.
know I see all the time people on my feed, my Twitter feed that talk about have jumped over to FBI International. I mean, they still watch PD or whatever, but
Right.
yeah, some don't.
Yeah.
Some completely abandon ship. So
Wow. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
still there, but I have to watch a show out to the end. So
yeah, of course.
I
Yeah.
didn't watch this week's, but I'll have to catch up on that. But yeah, this was probably the least interesting of all my shows this week. It was just like
Oh,
it was still good. It was still good, but there was just not as much like there was no sobbing or not as much dramatic.
didn't
But
tug at the
it was
heartstrings.
still a really good episode. I'm just gonna focus on the three characters who I feel like played the biggest role in the
Yeah, do
episode.
it.
So you got Wes, of course, Jesse, and then the DEA agent in Spain, Lopez, and then they brought in somebody named Tate who was fluent in Spanish, so they brought her onto the team to help them with this case.
Nice.
So basically, they were going over to Spain to catch a DEA agent who they thought was working with the cartel.
Ooh.
And he was. So
Oh,
obviously it was like action packed, so it was still a really good episode. And I actually really liked the kind of relationship between Tate and Wes too. So I'm wondering if that's going to go somewhere. I did read a an article that she talked to somebody and mentioned that she doesn't know kind of where this character is going to go. I think she knows, but she can't say, right?
yeah, totally. Right.
Is she going to stay? Is she going to leave? So she ends up being probably the biggest help, but let's remember she has a daughter. Okay. So she kind of is putting herself out there and really taking all the risks because she wants to prove that she's good at what she does and that she belongs there, right? And that they didn't just bring her in because she spoke Spanish. So she's going on and on. I can do this, I can do that. Don't worry about me. I can help you with this. And so she ends up really kind of trying to get Lopez to think she likes him so that
Ah,
she can get more details from him and try to catch him in a lie and something while she's being like undercover, right? And so she's like, yeah, Wes doesn't really like me, he's very hard on me, and what am I going to do, and blah blah blah, and is playing the role of like, I'm not good at this, like maybe I need to come switch over to the DEA, and he says to her, like, if you do what I want you to do, like you can come over to the DEA, no problem, like you just got to turn on Wes, kind of thing. um she ends up going like over to his place, and while he's speaking to some of the lawyer of the cartel, and he keeps her there and doesn't let her leave, like tells her just wait till I'm done, and which ends up turning out he finds that she put a bug in the place, and then finds out that she also lied to him and they were setting him up.
Oh
And
no.
he literally was trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Like he had her, like he was choking her, and
Risk.
yeah, she ends up hitting him in the head with a bottle of whiskey, I believe it was. And Jesse West comes in and
Jesse.
saves her, right?
Yeah.
And it was honestly, I couldn't really watch the scenes of him fighting her because like I don't like when men beat women. I can't watch it at all. It's very like, not that it's happened in my life, but it's so
No, no,
traumatizing
no, no.
for me.
It's
I
just
hate watching it. Like it really doesn't make me feel good. So I did zoom to the end when she hit him in the head. That was what I like. Getting good. So I didn't watch the whole fight, but so I don't know how good of a fight she put up. But yeah, she ends up getting saved, and then in the end, she kind of her and Wes are talking, and he's like, you did really well. Like you definitely belong on our team. Like, do you want to be a part of it?
wow.
And she says she doesn't know. She doesn't think it's the time. Like, I think once she got in that position where she was like being
Yeah.
choked and stuff, I think she was like, my daughter, what would happen if I left and I left my daughter, And so I think that that's a hard thing to choose. And in this career, especially, like,
So dangerous.
so dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also she'd have to leave her for long periods of time because this is international. This
That's
isn't
right.
regular. Yeah. So
Mhm.
she's having to go to all these different places and they're there for extended periods of time, right? So she has to be away. She's putting herself in danger. So it'll be interesting to see if she comes on permanently
Yeah.
or if we'll see her again. I mean, the way they ended it, I feel like it's not over with
Okay.
her. So it'll be interesting to see. She was a really good actress. I liked her. Don't know her real name, and I don't think I've seen her in anything else, but she was really good. And like I said, their chemistry, I was like, that's why I also think that it's not the end. So it'll
I
be,
feel like this is a show that I want to catch up on.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
I don't know.
it's
Every
so
time you
good.
talk
It
about it,
sounds really good.
It's
yeah.
one of those shows, like it's really good, and it's also just like uh, an easy watch.
Okay.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's
Like
what I'm looking for.
sometimes I'm forcing myself to watch shows.
Yeah.
And like I said, like I'll be on my phone through half of it, but like this is one that also like captures my attention, but it's not like too dramatic, too
Right.
crazy. Like it's like literally perfect. I really,
Okay.
really enjoy it. Yeah.
Then yeah, that's another one that I should get into for sure. Tuesday
Yeah.
nights, right? Tuesday nights.
I record it, so I'm not sure, but
I
love
believe
it.
it is.
Don't we
I
all?
believe it is Tuesday nights. Yeah. Well, hey, that's the world we live in, right? So
That's true.
that's why they make it that way. So now we're going to move into Sullivan's Crossing, which is heating up on the CW. So of course, Jessica and I have seen it here in Canada. I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Morgan Cohan last week, who plays Maggie. She is just so super sweet. And one part I had to cut out of the interview was her little dog. She has a little dog named Fred that she takes everywhere with her, and
Oh,
he was eating his food really loudly, but she said that he's a really picky eater, so she didn't want to interrupt him. So it was just super.
oh, I know the
I
feeling.
saw I saw her looking down a couple times. I'm like, what is she
And then I
looking
got
at? That's so
super
sweet.
relatable. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love to see that. And she just the way that she talks about her character, she just made for that role. So
Oh, yeah.
Dan and I are
Totally.
watching alongside American fans. So Phoebe and
Yeah.
Andrew return to the crossing this week.
Yes. So we
Everyone's
see,
favorite, Andrew.
yeah. So, I mean, it's so funny when the mom showed up there. I knew right away that was probably because Walter wasn't with her, that the truth of him being part of that insurance scheme fraud was out. But I already knew that when Maggie called her to tell her, "Oh, why don't you come down?" It wasn't to help Sully. I knew she was helping herself because and as soon as she said all her assets were frozen, I'm like, yeah, she's got nowhere else to go. Like,
Yeah.
where else is she gonna go? But then, like Sully called him, ass Andrew had to
Yeah.
show up and ruin everything. And I was just reading on Reddit last night. And people are saying that he's like the Charmaine on Virgin River, the
Stop.
ex,
I'm
the
dead.
ex that comes back and ruins all the good things. And it's so freaking
He was
true.
not the ex yet, though. Oh yeah,
No,
he is.
but
He is.
he
He is,
is the
yes.
ex. They're
That's
not
right.
At this
together,
point,
but
That's
yeah.
now he
right.
thinks they're going to be together because
Well,
she's pregnant
that's right.
because
You found
he
out.
told him to go in her freaking purse to get Tylenol. And the thing that really bothered me about him is he says he's working on himself. He's working on himself. No, he's not.
He's not.
He took her thunder away. She
Yeah.
didn't want to tell her parents. He made her tell the parents.
Well, no,
And then
he
go
did it
ahead.
for her, didn't he? Didn't he? I
Yes,
can't
he
remember.
did. Like
Yeah.
she wasn't the one to bring the news. She then he goes to make peace with all the friends that, he
Which
uh
was
Oh, I
BS.
forgot this
You
episode.
know
that
what
Yeah.
he
was
wanted
BS.
to
You
do.
already know what he wanted to
That's
do, just
right.
tell them that she was pregnant, and then he
Tell
goes again and
Cal.
steals her
Tell
thunder.
Cal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Leave
then he
Cal
goes again.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, and Cal just left her that heartfelt message how he didn't want to lose her and they've got to work things out, and how he really wants her to know why he didn't see kids in his life. And I'm sure it was because his wife and she was dying and he
Well,
didn't see
and there
kids
you're
in
gonna
his
find
life.
out. You're gonna find out. I'm not gonna tell you. But you also have to remember this is a kid. Remember, he's talked about his childhood. They grew up
Yes, it was terrible.
living in a school bus, moving
Yeah.
from place to place, and
Yeah.
he was the oldest of all his siblings.
Yeah.
There's
I mean, and
lots going
you
on in
know
his
there
life.
exactly, and there's got to be, and she was going to take that to heart. I mean, she's all emotional and everything, so she automatically assumed that he didn't want children.
She
But
also
now, go
thinks
ahead.
like everything for her, those kinds of things, rejection, right? Because she feels rejected by her
Her
family.
whole life.
Exactly.
But now she realizes, though, that the mom took her away and didn't give her that outlet of being able to be back there with her dad. Like now that she realizes that Walter did what he did, like, and I love the phone call she gave him. Like she said, you ruined everything I've ever built. Because I mean, his fraudulent thing with her partner, she was involved and he knew that.
Yeah,
So of
and
course when it
didn't.
comes out, they're going to think she's involved too. And that just ruined her entire career because do you remember in the first episode where she went to a restaurant in Boston and she saw old coworkers and
Yeah,
she overheard them saying, wasn't she part of that insurance scam?
yeah.
So I mean that
And
never
you
goes
remember
away.
everything.
I know
Yeah.
you're good. I can't
Like,
even
oh
remember
yeah, I
what
don't
happened
remember.
like three,
Oh
four
yeah, no,
episodes
like
ago.
the thing is that never goes away. So
Right.
he completely ruined her trust and she said, I can't believe I didn't look out for you. Sully may not have been there out of not his choice, but he's
Right.
never done that to her. And
No.
I think that's what she's starting to realize. And even the mom is starting to realize it too when he said when they were eating ice cream there and she said that she had to leave, there was no choice, and he said there was a choice. You just chose to escape and leave the
And
situation. And
she also wanted a bigger life.
oh, she did. And
Like
he
Oh,
said,
Sully
yeah,
all
why
the
that's
wasn't
how
time.
the,
she is.
yeah, she said, why wasn't the crossing good enough? And I think that's Edna and Frank gave her a cold reception and good for them because not only did she leave, she completely cut off her best friends and
Yeah.
their daughter and her daughter from them, and Edna told her that. And I was like, good, she needs to hear it because she's had this fabulous life her whole life thinking she's better than anything at the crossing. And in the end, she's got nothing,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing. But I'm
Well,
ready for Andrew to fly the coop. So,
I think the next episode, maybe two, might tick you off a little bit.
oh, great.
And then it gets
Lola's also ticking me
better.
off.
Yeah.
Lola needs, ugh.
Just say
I
Lola,
hate
I know.
Lola.
Don't worry. She redeems herself a little bit. Just wait for it.
Oh, well, let's just wait and see. Yeah,
Just
I'll
wait.
be the
Just
judge of
wait.
that.
It's hard because her, like the character Amalia Williamson plays Lola, her and um Lindora, who plays
Sydney.
Sydney, and Morgan are very best friends off outside of the
Oh,
show.
really? That's
Oh yeah, like
hilarious.
super best friends. So it's kind
But
of funny.
that's funny though, because
Yeah.
they really like Morgan or Maggie really has that animosity
Oh
towards
yeah.
Lola on the show,
That's how you know the acting's good, right? Because they're
Yeah.
actually they're best friends. So
Yeah. I mean,
but
we'll wait to see what happens with the crossing. They totally disregarded that this episode, but I
yeah,
think they
but
had to with all
it
the other
comes in
stuff.
full
Yeah.
force towards the end of the season. So I think there's a
Well, it
little
has
bit
to. I
of
mean, and I know that Reed Price's character did mention crowdfunding. That was something else he mentioned to save the crossing. But I will say, hallelujah. He went home with the girl. Finally. The poor guy
I know.
has
We
always
talked
had
about
so
that
many
with
bad
him.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
when he was
did.
on the
We talked
podcast.
about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said to him, we just want to see you win.
He's such a nice
So,
guy in
oh,
real
he
life.
totally is.
Like
Every time I watch him now, I'm like, oh, he's just so nice.
he is. He's an awesome, awesome, awesome guy.
Yep.
But stay with it. But as Morgan predicted, the finale's gonna cut you, and it will. But Scott Patterson, the Sullivan's Crossing Love just keeps happening for Spoiler TV. Speaking with Scott Patterson this week, so let me know if you have any questions. I know lots of people love him always still from Gilmore Girls, so let us know. And yeah, gonna be interviewing him this week, and we'll have to see what he says. But
Oh gosh.
still,
He's hilarious, let me tell you.
well,
When he said, "Hey Cal, I just have to tell you something. Her ass ex whatever is
yeah,
also in town." I was like, that's a true statement because he
yeah,
is a snake.
yeah, yeah. And I'm hoping that Chad Michael Murray will also
Still keeping
be
my
in
fingers
there,
crossed.
but we'll see. We'll see.
Gotta get them all.
Yeah, so we are going to wrap it up this week. We've talked so much about some awesome, awesome shows. I'm really glad that viewers decide what we discuss because honestly, I feel like we could talk forever. But
Yes.
we want to hear from you. Do you agree with us, what we discussed, our opinions, our thoughts? Do you disagree with us? We won't be offended. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on social media, but remember to follow us on X at Spoiler TV Pod, at the IG at the Spoiler TV Podcast, and I will be starting a Blue Sky account this week because Blue Sky is starting to become very popular now, and
I
lots
just
of
heard about it.
Twitter
Am I
people are
slow?
moving over. I moved Spoiler TV over there. Well, we're still on Twitter, but also created a Blue Sky account for Spoiler TV, and it's doing really well. So lots of big premieres this week. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is back. I can't wait. I've seen the first episode and man, it brings it. I'm really, really excited about that. Night Court comes back to NBC for season 3. New one called Interior Chinatown premieres on Hulu. I believe all the episodes drop on the same day. Based on a true story is returning this week on Peacock for season 2. And Netflix is premiering a new comedy with Ted Danson, A Man on the Inside. And Prime Video has a redo of Cruel Intentions, which is going to
Yeah, I
be
saw that.
on this week. I believe the whole season drops at once as well. And The Sex Lives of College Girls is back as well. I think it's season 2 or 3, can't remember, but it's also back on Max. So, woof, there's lots to watch this week. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Once again, wait and let us know what to talk about next week. And have an awesome week. Like, follow, share.
See you in a
Bye.
week.
Bye.